Hey there and welcome to the channel. You're watching The Light in My Library. So today we're talking about Death Masks by Jim Butcher, book 5 of the Dresden Files. And as I was quickly skimming through the book again to get prepped for this video, I realized that this book does a lot of heavy lifting for the world of Dresden Files. There are a lot of concepts introduced and characters introduced in this book that really have a lot to do with the story at large, and a lot of world development is done here. So, Dresden finds... How do I summarize this one? No! Every single time I go to do a video, that's exactly when you wake up from your fucking nap and come to talk to me. No! Fuck you. Not really going to spend much time in the spoiler-free section. If you've been reading the Dresden Files so far, you're definitely going to enjoy this book. I think this is a massive turning point for the series. I talked in my summer night video about how it kind of closed out the early segments of the Dresden Files, and this is when the Dresden Files really turns into much more of a high fantasy epic. And moving forward, we see more and more epic plots, for lack of a better word. So we're going to hop right into the review because there's a lot that I want to talk about in the spoiler section. We're going to give this Dresden Files a solid 8 out of 10 stars overall. I don't really have the mental energy to break it down by categories today. So we're just going to say 8 out of 10. It's a solid entry in the series. I definitely enjoy this book more than Full Moon, Grave Peril, or Summer Night. I think this is when the series starts to get back up to the promised potential of Stormfront. So I want to talk about Ortega as a character. I really enjoy the way that the duel between him and Harry goes down. I really enjoy him as a character throughout the entire book. I don't enjoy the way that his character is resolved at the end. I'm gonna check that it's fucking recording. He was just a really cool character. He does a lot of heavy lifting in the plot for the tone and the atmosphere of this book. And then he just dies off screen. And while his death leads to a very good conflict, a very interesting conflict between Harry and Ebenezer. I don't like the fact that such a cool character was just killed off screen in a very anticlimactic way. And I dislike the way that Jim went about that one. But the rest of the book is solid. The introduction of the Blackendenarians and that whole society of people with Nicodemus and his crew. It's very interesting characters. They are very important for the story and the world of Dresden moving forward, and I really like that. Also, here in this book, going back to Ortega, this is one of the first instances that we see where the larger world is happening in the background. And it's one of my favorite things about the Dresden Files is that Jim does a really good job of giving these little hints and details throughout the books. More so in this one, or rather less so in this one, where you can tell that there's a lot going on that Dresden is not there for. That there's an entire world, entire societies, and they are moving and interacting with each other, and Dresden is not the center of attention. He may have started the war with the Red Court, but it has been continuing without him. We saw a little bit of this before in Summer Night with the attack on the Russian stronghold, but we will see even more of it going forward as the war continues to develop, and it's one of my favorite aspects of the Dresden Files. We also see some more of it with the very courts moving forward as well. The reintroduction of Susan in this book came a lot earlier than I was expecting in the series. I wasn't expecting to see Susan again until books 8 or 9, maybe even later, because I thought that she was for sure going to be Harry's main love interest throughout the series. And so I thought, well, it got really intense at first, and then she leaves, and she'll come back towards the end, and there'll be a more slow build, traditional kind of love story going on. But it seems as though I was wrong. I have to say, BDSM vampire sex, not exactly something I ever expected to read in a book, but it was a very well written scene. It was very well executed within the text and very well justified, and it is a really powerful and emotional moment for Harry that has some lasting implications further throughout the series as we get to know more about the White Court vampires. Also, Susan as a character is just top tier. Before, she was not uninteresting, but she was mostly interesting as Harry's romantic interest. And now she is a fully fledged character all on her own, who is going out into the world and doing things, and is back in town to make sure Harry's safe, not the other way around. She no longer needs his protection the way that she did before. And it shows a lot of growth for Susan. It also begins to show some of the growth that we see in Harry, as he starts out as much more of a white knight, with some very, as he would put it, old-fashioned ideas of chivalry that are honestly outdated and get him in trouble more often than anything else. However, we start to see that change in this book as he confronts Lashiel, it's not Lashiel. Is it Lashiel? One of the Denarians, the female one, and he has to kill her. And then we also see with Susan developing story. Marcone in this book, he gets a lot of added character depth as well. This is really the book where the entire supporting cast just gets deepened and more complex around Harry. We see the reintroduction of Michael, and we get to meet the rest of the Swords of the Knights of the Cross for the first time. And we also see more from Marcone. We see a greater depth and complexity to that character, and we find out even more about him later. Also, the resolution at the end was very exciting. I really enjoyed the way that it ends. Oh my goodness, Butters is introduced in this book. Butters, everybody's favorite polka-playing mortician, is introduced for the first time in this book, and he is top tier character in my opinion. We meet him as he's been relegated to the very bottom tier of his company, because when he did the analysis for the bodies at the Red Court party where Dresden burned everything to ash, he determined that they were not quite human and has since been kind of shunned as a result of his conclusions. Butters is such a good character. Also, for the first time, we meet the Archive and Kincaid. And both of those, again, are just some of the coolest characters in this series. Dresden gives her name, which is one of the highlights for this book, that interaction. This is a really good Dresden book. It does pretty much everything that Dresden does. It does amazing. And so I'm actually going to bump this one up. I'm going to say a 9 out of 10 for, what book is it? Death Masks by Jim Butcher. So, there you go. I will be getting back to my reviews of the First Law series pretty soon here. I kind of had a lot going on, as I've mentioned before, and got distracted. I also have an exciting announcement. That video is coming out tomorrow, on Saturday. Just a quick little clip, but just announcing some of the plans that I have for the future of this channel, and I hope you guys will definitely take a look and watch that one. In addition to that, I'm going to keep going on these reviews, and so next week, please do look forward to that review of Before They Are Hanged, and I will probably also be doing my review of Golden Sun, but it might be the next Dresden Files book instead. If you would like to stay up to date on the channel, please consider subscribing and liking this video, leaving a comment down below. It really helps the algorithm to promote this content. And you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at The Light in My Library, where I post my upcoming schedule and just chat with other nerds and fans. I'm also on Twitch at The Light in My Man Cave, where I play games every Wednesday and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. and every other Sunday at noon. Jeez, it's been a while since I've done one of these outro clips, can you tell? Go ahead and leave it all in, man. Just don't edit any of this out. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.